possible because I'm finding that there are still plenty of people that I do not know or don't know me. My name is Ben Andrews, and I'm serving happily as the district youth director for the state of Arkansas. It's been so much fun. Some of you were there like our first day on the job, June 3rd, Camp 1 of 2018. You were there. And it's just been an exciting trip and journey. The last 7 months, it's been a ton of fun. But in the last couple of weeks, I have found exactly why Brother Dane loved this position, this opportunity, whatever. I have understood exactly why he loved it so much. And it's just been so encouraging, giving the vision, sharing the heart behind Speed the Light, and then seeing students and youth leaders and youth pastors and pastors respond to that vision and jump on board and begin to give generously to Speed the Light. But I'm just going to tell you up front, I'm not Brother Dane, and I'm just me, and that's just the way it is. I know I'm in his hometown, so I honor him and love him and appreciate him, but I chose from the very beginning that I would be me, and so this is me, and so I'm here tonight. I just want to share my heart and my vision just for a few brief moments before I let our speaker loose, and I've got one other person I want to introduce to you tonight, but here's the deal. Before I ask you for a single dollar, I want you to know I have not come here for your money. You're like, you're at a Speed the Light service. You must be confused. You're at the wrong place. Well, listen, here's the deal. I really have not come here for your money. I have come here for your life. Before I ask you for a single dollar, I'm going to ask that you first completely sell out to Jesus Christ. And here's the reason why. I may not see initial dividends. I may not see Speed the Light giving increase in 2018. I'd love for it to. But the heart behind this is, I believe if you will give your entire life, if you will get rid of your backup plan, if you'll forget about whatever you're holding on to in this world, if you'll fully trust God with your life and with everything that you've got, and if you'll be generous with your life, you'll tell God, hey, I'll give you everything that I have. If you'll give God your life, I believe that he'll get your finances, he'll get your future, he'll get your relationships, he'll get everything that he needs from you and everything that I want from you. He'll get whenever you first give your life to Jesus Christ. And so I want you to know tonight, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged that you're here. Pastors, youth pastors, I want to say thank you for bringing your students here. And there was a moment in the early stages where I was trying to figure out, is Speed the Light tour, we're going to do this? Is this really worth it? Is there a better way to do this? And we may come up with a better way to come up with, but here's the bottom line. The more opportunities, the more teenagers' ears that I have the opportunity to speak life into and to speak this vision into, and the more opportunities that teenagers hear what Speed the Light is all about, the more opportunities that we have to give missionaries the essential tools that they need to reach the gospel. Listen, in the economy of God's kingdom, you either give, you go yourself, or you disobey. It's really that simple. And so I just want to challenge you. If you haven't been called to full-time missions, and I'll just let you know right now, before we leave this place tonight, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from the Lord and potentially hear him speak to you and respond to that call. Because I think this is like number 12, I think in every service that we've had, every Speed the Light service, we've had at least a handful of students respond to the call of full-time ministry or missions. And I'm giving you that opportunity because, yes, we do need to give some money, but here's the deal. With the Assemblies of God missionaries that we have right now, divide the number of lost people in the world, and the number's about 2.3, 2.7 million, just depending on what statistic you travel with. 2.3, 2.7 million lost individuals per Assemblies of God missionary. Yeah. So you just tell me if we don't need to send any more missionaries out to the field. Don't tell me we don't need to send anybody else out, okay? So you either go yourself, you respond to the call that God has on your life, you give, or you disobey. It's really that simple. All right? So I want to share what Speed the Light did in 2018. I have a couple of slides, just 2 stories from 2018 I want to share with you. The first is Scott and Lavana Ennis. They are in the Gambia. And this was one of my first purchases. It was the most exciting thing I've ever done I think in my entire life. It was super awesome. I'm a redneck. I love boats. I love fishing. And when I had the opportunity to buy a boat for a missionary, I was like, absolutely, sign me up. I'll pay for it myself if I have to. Let's do this. And so, but here's the reason. We didn't just buy Scott and Lavana Ennis a boat to go fishing on the Gambia River, okay? Because that wouldn't have made sense. Here's the deal. The Gambia, the country of the Gambia, if you look at it on a map, it is split in half by the Gambia River. And the Gambia River in the area that they live has no land bridges. There's no way for them to get across the Gambia River. And except for a ferry that is in their area. The only problem with this ferry is they would wait sometimes 7.5, sometimes 8 hours, pretty much an entire workday. They would wait in line to get onto the ferry to get across the river. Now you say, Pastor Ben, why is it so important that they get across the river? Well, here's the deal. They have people that they have led to the Lord on the other side of the river. The people that they're discipling on the others, they have Bible college students on the other side of the river. They have churches that they have personally planted on the other side of the river. They have lost people on the other side of the river. So you tell me why it was so important for us to purchase a boat. Well, that's why. Because in 30 minutes now, they can get in their boat, they can go across, and they can get started. They don't have to waste an entire day waiting in line for a ferry to get across. And so that's one thing that we did in 2018. The second thing that we did, the second thing I'm sharing with you, I'll be glad to tell you everything that we purchased in 2018. That'd be fine, no problem. But the one cool thing that I want to share with you is Matt and Andrea Marlin. They are in Mozambique, and they're not just like super awesome people. They're not just super awesome missionaries. These guys have gone to Mozambique and they have become leaders. They're actually, in just the short amount of time that they've been there, there are other missionaries in the region that are learning how to be missionaries from them. And they're like in their 20s, okay? So when I tell you that God has a place for you in the kingdom of God right now, I'm not telling you anything that isn't true. I'm telling you the truth, okay? These guys have gone and we purchased this 15-passenger van for them. And somebody said the other night, that is not a 15-passenger van. And I said, well, in Mozambique it is. In America, you get like 6 in there before you start getting cooties, you know? And but in Mozambique, that's what they're doing. And the cool thing is they're so creative with the use of this. They're not just getting all of their ministry personnel from where they need to go from place to place. They're actually Ubering it out. They're taxing it out. And they're actually able to pay for some of the ministry that's taking place. Here, just in this next week, I'm going to buy a second one for them. And I'm super excited to see what God does through the ministry efforts right there. Yeah, super awesome. Super awesome. So I just wanted to share those 2 things with you. If you don't fully understand what Speed the Light is, all of the youth leaders, if you didn't get a packet, I'd be glad to make sure that you get one right now. But inside that packet, you don't have to look at it right now, but later on there's a resource. We're the first district in America to get these printed for us. They're fresh off the press, fresh out of Springfield. It is a complete cover-to-cover explanation of what Speed the Light is. But the brief explanation is it's essential transportation, okay? All of us probably got here in a vehicle. Did anybody walk here? Yeah, I didn't think so. Every one of us got here in a vehicle. And how essential was that to you getting here tonight? Well, those of you who lived outside of Monticello or lived outside of, really close, it was very essential. And so the same thing is true for our missionaries. It's kind of like this. We would not send a baseball player onto the field in the major league game without his glove. And we really don't need to send a missionary onto the field without Speed the Light. It's that simple, okay? The correlation is the same. All right? We're equipping them with the essential transportation that they need, the effective communication. Scott and Lavana Ennis that we bought this boat for just a few weeks ago, I put on a ship to get across the Atlantic Ocean some sound systems, some projectors, some microphones, some equipment that is going to help them actually go in multiple places at the same time. Here's the crazy part. They're going in places that don't have electricity right now. The gospel is being preached on through a projector and through a sound system being ran by a generator, reaching people who have not yet heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what you did in 2018 with your money. So essential transportation, effective communication. And then lastly is the compassionate demonstration. Here's the cool thing. We're beyond vehicles. We're beyond sound systems now in Speed the Light. Speed the Light was recently reworked, and this is the phrase. Any tool or any equipment that can be used to evangelize the lost. That's what Speed the Light is purchasing. And so right now, and then I just got off the phone with the National Youth Director earlier. Me and Stancil were talking to him. He's telling us about an opportunity that's going to be coming up soon. They're already doing this, but it's going to be a brand new push for us to be able to do this. But there are countries right now that are putting in water wells in the name of Speed the Light. All right, in the name of Jesus, but through Speed the Light dollars. They're putting water wells in, and there are places where they have seen very little salvations, very little opportunities to witness to people. And they put a water well in the middle of their town, in the middle of their village, and all of a sudden missionaries are seeing people come to know Jesus just because of the physical need that was met in their community through the efforts of Speed the Light. Convoy of Hope, anybody ever heard of that? I've worked with them. They're an incredible organization. Speed the Light purchases the trucks that Convoy of Hope drives all over the nation. All right, so just want you to know exactly what's taking place, what's going on. We have brought all the way from the big city of Star City a real life, freshly appointed missionary. I want to invite Brian Pickens up here. Would you guys give it up for Brian Pickens? Share your heart with us just for a couple minutes.
Thank y'all. It's really good to be here tonight. Just a quick rundown of me and my family. We're from Star City, like he said, and we have just started itinerating. I know he said he didn't want your money, but hey, we're itinerating. I'll take your money right there before we leave. Yeah, I've been a police officer for 22 years. We've been the children's pastors at our church for 8 years. As a matter of fact, I see one of the kids that came through right there, Jax Boardman. I'll point him out real quick. But we just got appointed in October as full-time missionaries. And when Ben was talking about a while ago about he wants your life, I don't want to scare you, but that is true. When we first started going through the process, I knew God was speaking to our hearts. He was telling us, I want more of y'all. I want more of y'all. Lord, we're doing stuff. We're serving you. And he said, no, I want more of y'all. I got to have more. He said, and he just began talking to me, and I want you as a world missionary. Whoa, hang on. That's a little much. It's a little much. Lord, I have a career. I'm a school resource officer now. I love my job. I've got kids. And he said, that just doesn't fit in my plan. And he just kind of, I felt like he just laughed at me. He's like, your plan? Let me tell you about my plan. He told me what we were to do, and just the fear, honestly, it just overwhelmed me. It scared me to death. Lord, I have kids. I have a wife. I can't take them into an unknown area and learn a new language and everything. And he said, stop. He said, all those treasures that you're talking about, I gave you those treasures. I'm the one that blessed you with that family. And if you think for 1 second that I won't take care of y'all, you're crazy. So when a God that tells you that, and you realize he's the one that gave me the breath that I'm breathing, all I could do is say, yes, we'll go. So we are, like I said, itinerating. We'll be, hopefully in about a year, a little over a year, we'll be going to a country called Paraguay in Latin America to work for Child Hope. It's a organization that the AG does that sponsors kids that are in real bad poverty situations. They're subject to gangs, subject to a lot of things that kids shouldn't be subject to. And they take them, they feed them, they clothe them, they give them a little bit of schooling, and it kind of breaks the cycle of poverty, and it gives them hope, and it disciples them, to go to their town, to go to their village, their family, and disciple others, and just hopefully just create a whole community full of disciples. That's what we have planned, and that's what God has laid on our heart. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all. I know God might not be calling you to go to another country. He might not even be calling you to exactly full-time ministry, but he's calling you to something. All I'm asking you to do is just listen to that call and obey that call, and just keep doing what you're doing, because we can't do what we're going to do without y'all, without partnering with y'all. Thank y'all.
Come on, y'all, give it up. One of my mandates from heaven, not from Brother Moore, not from a job description. I don't even know if I have a job description. That's another story. I have a mandate from heaven to restore honor to missionaries. Okay, and so I want you to know I've been bringing these guys, several different missionaries, on this tour with us. I've been encouraging them, giving them the opportunity to speak, and I want you to understand, teenagers. I want you to please understand so much my heart that we have to honor those who are going. Okay, we need to go ourselves, or we need to send those that are going. Okay, really disobeying is just not a good option. It's just really not. So I've been there. I tried it. It didn't work. So and I burned the T-shirt. So we moved on, and it's all good. So I want to say thank you so much again for being here. I have somebody with me here tonight who is. Well, let me first just say thanks. My wife Lindsay is here. She got to travel with us tonight. My daughter Madison. We actually traded kids with the Liddells over at Monticello Oak Grove. I gave them my son, and we got their daughter for an hour and a half. So that was a pretty cool deal. I think we got the good end. You know the deal. Anyway, it's all good. But I'm so thankful they're traveling with me. I do have this young man. I say young man, he's older than I am. We've been making fun of him this week. But he is the district youth director from South Texas, all the way from Houston, Texas. Would you guys give it up for Stancil Williams?
Thanks, Ben, the younger fellow of the group, pointing that out. It's cool. It's cool. Thank you for the privilege and the honor and the trust that comes with this, with trusting me with your people. And it's been great traveling. Spend a lot of time in a car talking. You get to talk DYD stuff with the new guy, and I'm just like, this is fun. Because I'm the veteran guy. I've been doing it for 4 years, which is dumb because I don't even know what I'm doing. I said that one time, and someone was like, you don't need to tell people you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I didn't want you to think I knew what I'm doing. So anyway, moving on. Just wanted to say thank you so much to you guys for Speed the Light. And you may say, well, what do we do? Okay, cool. I'm going to let you know. In 2017, in the Houston area, and our entire district was devastated by Hurricane Harvey. We have about 300 churches. About a little over 100 of them were affected by the hurricane. It covered geographically almost our entire district, which for me to leave my house and drive to the other end of the district is about 6 hours. And that's not, and I can still go another 3 hours in the other direction and not be out of my district. And it was almost all underwater. And it was Convoy of Hope trucks that were purchased by you guys, by students just like you, that showed up since day one, helped restore homes, helped to provide food and essential needs to communities that were devastated by hurricane. It's happening right now in West Florida, and we get to see the updates from DYD over there, Craig Hicks, that they're doing there. And it's because of students like you. You may never see it. You may never see people like me that were directly touched by it. You may say, why is it important? Speed the Light's not about a goal. It's about the souls that are going to be changed by your giving. So yes, we want to set a goal because we want to have something to shoot for, but it's not about saying, hey, we got a plaque. It's about saying, yes, we reached more people with the gospel message this year than we did last year. Boss, look at you. That's a good guy right there. That's a good guy. I think he saw me eat a pizza earlier and was like, that dude, he looks thirsty. Thank you, sir. I want to introduce my family to you tonight. This is my lovely family. They are the best part of my life. That is my wife, my partner in crime, the person that gets me in the most trouble, and the person whose goal in life is to scare me in the middle of the night. That's my wife. She is amazing. Everybody loves her. And this is a true story for all the senior pastors in the room. Every senior pastor I work for, they're like, we really like you. You're an amazing guy. We love what you do. But we really like her. So I think I had job security just because of how amazing she was. It had nothing to do with me at all. But those are our 3 kids. My oldest is Braylon. He's our baseball stud. And just speaking of baseball, we just signed him up for baseball. He's got tryouts on Thursday, and I get to leave early Thursday morning and drive back just in time to take him. It'd be dumb for me to pay for his registration and be like, I already signed you up for baseball. What more do you want from me? You want a glove? That's kind of what we do at our missionaries sometimes. Like, we helped you get on the field, but good luck. Speed of light is that essential need that goes to, not using baseball as an analogy is a great thing because it's baseball. It's not real, life and death. But the reality is every time you hear a missionary story, every time you hear them come up here and share their story of what they're going to be doing, what they're doing, speed of light is attached to every single one of them. So know that when you do things, just like when I get my son his glove, it makes everything else we're doing by sending him into baseball work. Because without it, he would struggle. I mean, he'd be all right. He's good. I'm not going to lie. He's decent, and he takes after his dad. My daughter, Emery, she is by far my favorite child. By far. She's not athletic at all. She has no athletic ability. She is very artsy, though. She is definitely that fine arts girl. She can sing. She loves to sing. She loves to dance. She loves to draw, clay, all that. That's her. My youngest son, his name is Landon. We know him as Chunk Chunk. I swear when the kid was born, it was like it was just all face and just rolls everywhere. And to this day, he eats nonstop. He loves it. He raids our refrigerator. That's my lovely family, and I would not want my life to be any different. I wouldn't want anything to be different. Love them kids and love that family. Tonight we're going to talk about speed of light. We're going to talk about the forgotten people of this world. We're going to read from Exodus chapter 2. We're going to talk about Moses. But before I do that, does anybody here suffer from ADD? You can raise your hand. Just not be ashamed. Some of you may not know because you're not paying attention right now. It's cool. And this is a true story. I'm not even joking. I have ADD. I know this because I will be in my office. I will get my coffee cup, and I will head towards the Keurig to get me my coffee, and I'll start talking to somebody, holding my cup. Finish talking conversation, turn around, walk back to my office, and sit down with empty coffee cup. Looking at it going, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, then, and then there's times, I'm kid you not, I'll set it on there, press the button, start talking to somebody in the office, walk right on out. And an hour later go, you know what, I need some coffee. Oh, yeah, there's one sitting, waiting on me, and I'll go get it. And they're like, yeah, we knew that was yours. Cool. But it's a real thing. But this reminds me of a Bible story. It's a true thing. When we read in Exodus chapter 2, we find the story of Moses and his life. Now, for those who don't know, Moses was born at the time when Pharaoh declared that any Hebrew children, males, be thrown into the Nile River. And Moses' mom, not wanting to perish, makes a wicker basket, places him in it, and sends him down the river. Pharaoh's daughter finds Moses and raises Moses as her own child. And so Moses grows up in the palace of Pharaoh as an heir to the throne with all kinds of influence over the kingdom. Yet he makes a poor decision out of anger and kills somebody and flees for his life and runs. And as he's running, we find this story where he comes upon some girls. And in verse 16 of chapter 2, it says, now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and to fill the troughs of water for their father's flock. Some shepherds came along and drove them away. But Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered their flock. Okay, girls, if you ever want the right guy, what you need to do is stand by the water fountain and just hold a cup. If he comes and he gets your cup and he fills it with water, husband material. Now, this is what we have to combat against. At camp, Pastor Ben, when they're at camp, they're going to see all these girls lined up at the water fountain, shoving cups in guys' faces. That's the one. I know it. Or hiding the cup. Like, I don't got a cup. Keep on walking there. You think I'm lying, but let's keep reading. When the girls returned, their father, Reuel, had asked them, why have you returned so early? And they answered, an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherd. And I find it interesting that they identified him as an Egyptian when he was in Hebrew. Sometimes the problem isn't that we aren't Christians, it's that no one knows who we are because of how we walk, act, look. No one recognizes who we are. Side note, that's bonus. The Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock. And he said, and where is he now? Why did you leave him? Invite him to come have something to eat. Moses agreed and stayed with the man who gave him his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. And Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named his son Gershom, saying, I have become a foreigner in a foreign land. But this is the part I want you to get. During that long period of time, the king of Egypt died, and Israel groaned in their slavery and cried out. And their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. Moses was positioned by God in Pharaoh's house, yet he finds himself calling himself a foreigner in a foreign land. And for 40 years, the people of Israel groaned in their suffering. Moses had spiritual ADD. He was placed for a purpose and a future, and 40 years went by. I remember my first missions trip. First trip I ever went on, junior high kid, 8th grade. And summer, getting away, go for the house, and we're going to Juarez, Mexico. We're going to do some evangelism. We got some missionaries down there. We're going to go spend some time with them, doing some outreaches in some school areas and all this. And the last day, we go to a remote village. And again, I've seen the Discovery Channel, so I know what poverty looks like. But now I'm walking into something that I was not physically prepared for. We're at this village in Mexico where it's just a village of cardboard boxes, duct tape cardboard boxes as far as the eye can see. Hundreds of families living here in cardboard boxes. And we're going to this village, and I'm wearing a full-on dog costume with a big head, where you can't see anything because it's got like the little holes right here. It's got the mesh, but you can't see anything because you got a giant nose. So, we're out there, and these kids are full of life. These kids are like running around, laughing. We're playing games with them. They're grabbing my tail, pulling it, turning around, kicking me, and then running off before I can get a hold of them. But I remember thinking, man, these kids, they're full of life. And look at their conditions. Look at how they're living, and how is it that they're so happy? How are they so? I'm looking at it with that whole Nintendo mentality. If I sit in my room sometimes and just play Nintendo with no worries in this world, and here these kids have nothing, yet they're more happy than me sometimes. And I talked to the missionary, and then they were like, this wasn't always how they were. The first time we came here, it was almost like, who are you guys? And over time of getting just to love them and just be here and bringing teams in just like you guys to just love on them, they've grown to love us, and their whole demeanor has changed. And I started just thinking to myself, man, these kids have been here this whole time, and I never knew it. I come from a small town in Texas, but I never even knew this existed. Yeah, you see it on Discovery Channel, but I'm living it with a missionary, and I thank God every day that there was a missionary that said, you know what? These kids matter. And went and found the people that were forgotten to me and shared the love of Jesus Christ with them. My first overseas trip where I went far away, I went to Haiti, and it was the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And all day we travel to get there. It's like 7 hours, so we wake up early, we get there. We got there early, which never happens in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. You never arrive early. It's never happened except for this one time, my first trip. After that, it's like 3-hour delays as far as the eye could see. And we get there, and we're early, so they're like, hey, dinner's not quite ready. We got about an hour, so let's just go down to this village. Let's see a homeless shelter. And immediately, I'm like, a homeless shelter in Haiti. Like, what is this? And it was a little 3-wall structure, no roof. And on the other side of the wall was a boiler room. So it's extremely hot. They got bed sheets for a roof to block the sun. And we're walking, all the rocks are around, and there was a little boy, about yay high. Just a shirt on, nothing else. And being my first time in a foreign country, and I didn't pay attention during aim orientation, I didn't know what would get me in trouble. Because I wanted to pick the boy up, but I didn't want to go to jail. Pay attention in your aim orientation. When you go on a foreign trip, listen to your DYD. I did not. So I wasn't sure what I could or could not do. So I'm just standing there, and my pastor's wife picks up the little boy. And I'm like, oh, that was my boy. So I hover. You know what I'm talking about? Where you get like really close, where it's kind of like uncomfortable. But I pretend like I'm not paying attention to you. And eventually she looked at me and she was like, would you like to hold him? And I was like, yes, I would. So she hands me the boy, and she goes, be careful, he may pee on you. Didn't get that far in my head, but if it happens, it happens. It's meant to be. So I'm holding this boy. He's lifeless. There's no happiness. His eyes are glazed. And I start asking and start talking to an interpreter in my very limited French. What is this boy's name? What is his name? No one knew his name. He'd just been dropped off. And I'm just devastated. I'm broken. The missionaries go and get food, and they bring little plantains, which are like little bananas, and water. And I started to just give him a banana and give him some water. And his demeanor never changed, but he took his arm and he just put it around me. And I'm like bawling. Okay, a 19-year-old kid just full on, just coming out of my face and just snot shooting out. And it was such a powerful moment for me because this kid seemed unwanted. This kid was forgotten even by his own parents. And here I am with a missionary that has brought us here to see this kid. This kid existed the whole time, and I didn't know it. It comes time to go on the last one, and I just don't want to leave. I'm just like, all right. And so I set the kid down, and as I get ready to leave, he reaches around and just grabs my leg. And I am just like, y'all just leave me. I'll die here. And I remember thinking, thank God for a missionary that saw this place and said, we have a need. Those same missionaries are traveling into the remote regions of Haiti to places that never have food, the average age of death there's 5 for the kids. If they make it to 5, they get a great chance to survive, but the attrition rate is so bad that most kids don't make it to 5. They saw the need, and because of Speed the Light, they had the right vehicles to take the food to them every day to make sure that they're fed. They're forgotten to me. I live in my life. I'm just going about my day, and these kids, this is their life. They were forgotten. But because of missionaries and Speed the Light, they went from being forgotten to being found. Moses had this place. He was at this place in his life where he felt like, you know what? God placed me there, and I made a mistake. And now he's off just living his life and doing his thing. And I want you to understand this, students, that when God calls you and you don't go, God doesn't send nobody else. When Jonah went to Tarshish instead of Nineveh, who went to Nineveh? Moses left, and for 40 years, did anybody else go? No, things got worse. So Moses is here, and he's in the desert, and there's a burning bush, and he takes notice of it, and when he takes notice of it, God begins to speak to him, and through a series of a conversation with God in his presence, his heart began to shift. But God, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm the right man. I don't know if I speak well enough. I said it right this time. I said speak good enough. And my wife would have got onto me because I don't speak good English. She's my English professor. Moses is having these conversations with God until he finally says, I'll go. And because Moses decided to remember the people that had been forgotten, they went from being forgotten about to being delivered. And so what I want you to know today is that Moses was positioned by God to reach the people in the palace of the king, and 40 years went by. But God is saying today is a day that we're going to rise up and we're going to change things. Moses, the moment he said yes, became a game changer. The moment Moses said, yes, I'll go, despite my limitations, despite what I think I am inadequate at doing, I'm willing to go. The moment that happened, he became a game changer for the land of Israel. How does this play into things for you? Romans chapter 10 says this. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one in whom they've not heard? And how can they hear without somebody preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? If I can get the band, guitar player come back. Whole band's cool. It's not going to bother me. I want you to look at this map. How does this play into you? On this map that you see on the screen, eventually, there it is the population density in this world. Every red dot on there represents a cluster in the population. Up there is a cluster of people. And in the next slide, you'll see the 1040 window. In this window, which covers the Middle East, Northern Africa, Asia, that is the most unreached region of this world. Not only that, that's where the church faces the most fierce persecution. It's here where our missionaries are in hiding. It's in this place where the upper room churches exist in the Middle East where they're meeting in secret, but are having massive outpourings. One of those stories is one of the guys got saved, one of the Muslims got saved, and he started speaking in the mosque. And they took him and they beat him. Broke his legs. And when he got out of the hospital, he said, "Take me back to the mosque." That's in the 1040 window, where the name of Christ is persecuted to death. The next map you see, every blue dot represents a place where the gospel has been preached. Every blue dot represents an area or a region that has been reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And every red dot you see is unreached. Every red dot you see has been forgotten by the church. And a lot of times people in the church look at it as a hopeless. They're so hostile to the gospel that we shouldn't send anyone. But at the same time, we have one missionary from our district that we're sending right now to a sensitive country that I can't tell you about, but their whole mission is to reach people that have never heard the gospel message. Through World Serve in Africa, where they're drilling water wells, they're finding remote villages that have never heard the gospel message. And they're not only just sharing the gospel, they're placing these water wells in strategic locations and building churches at these water well sites, so that when people come to water, they find not just a physical need being met and hope being restored, but they're finding Jesus in these remote places of Africa where no one's heard the gospel message. And that's what matters now. That's the point of all this, is that there are forgotten people in this world, but God is calling people, just like he called Moses, to be game changers that step in and see this map and their heart gets pulled and tugged, that it's not about an emotional response, but deep down they know, God, I want to reach those people. So right now, I want you to stand all across this place. And I want you to think about these people. And tonight, some of you in this room, the moment I started talking about unreached people and I talked about the 1040 window, or I showed you this map, you started seeing places and saying, God, they need to be reached. And some of you in this room, God is saying, you are the one we're going to send. Because Speed the Light is great at equipping missionaries, but the problem is we've got millions that have not heard. So while raising money for Speed the Light is is one of our goals for tonight, the true thing is we need people that are willing to go. We need people that are willing to say yes to Jesus and reach these people groups. So right now, I just want you to bow your heads and close your eyes right where you're at. Lord Jesus, I just ask right now that you begin to reach us. Lord Jesus, as you begin to speak to us, Lord Jesus, about Speed the Light, there's some people in this room that you're speaking about something even bigger. You're speaking to them tonight about going. You're speaking to them tonight about reaching. All across this world, there are red dots. There's people that have not heard the gospel message, and you're speaking to people tonight, adults or leaders in this room, and you're asking them to go. And Lord Jesus, I just pray that they answer the call tonight. In your name. Everybody head bowed, everybody eye closed real fast. I'm gonna ask this question. If that's you, and tonight you are feeling called to reach people, you're feeling called to reach people that are lost in this world, you feel called to go to one of these unreached zones and reach people with the gospel message. If that's you, I just want you to raise your hand. If you're raising your hand right now, please, I want you to come up here and let us pray for you. Come now. If you're going to accept a call, if you're going to say yes to the call that God is calling you. Now, I want you to understand something. Y'all come line up all the way over here. Tonight is not about an emotional response. Tonight is about this gut thing that is going on inside of you that says somebody needs to go. Y'all real quick. I want to tell y'all a story. Y'all look up here real fast. When I got called into ministry, I was young. And along that way, doors opened for me to go to college on a scholarship. I had all the opportunities. ExxonMobil was wanting to hire me as soon as I graduated. They offered me a salary package and I was set. My life was set. My freshman year, with straight A's, I felt God say this one thing to me. You can go to Exxon, you can love it, you'll have a great life. But if you give that up and you follow me, you'll never regret it. And not once do I regret it. Tonight, you're being called. God is calling, and you're saying that God is calling you. We're here today to confirm that. We're here to pray over you and commission you. And it may be a while before you graduate. It may be a while before you're ready. But don't take this moment and just say it was an emotional response. Take this moment as a day that we're going to confirm the call of God upon your life. So right now, we're going to pray. And I just ask you to pray. I want students and leaders to come and pray with you as we begin to pray over you and the great things that God's got in store for you. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the things you're going to do in these students' life. And not just today and not just during this year, God, and not while they're in school, God, but for the great visions that you're going to give them, for the great futures that you have in store for them to reach this lost world, to reach people that have not heard the gospel message. And we ask that you continue to do that in your holy name. Students, keep praying, keep praying.